Hello everyone, and welcome to Bizarre Movies. Today we will recap a horror thriller movie, a psycho gang break into a divorced woman and her teenage daughter's house. But before we start, a gentle reminder that this is just a movie explanation and we encourage you to watch the full movie. Spoilers ahead, watch out and enjoy. The film begins with Meg Altman and her 12-year-old daughter Sarah. They are looking for a new house in the city of New York. An agent shows them the house, and this house is very luxurious, because its previous owner, who is no more in this world, was very rich. Meg likes the house, and discovers that it has been renovated several times. Upon asking, she informs them that she is divorced recently, and her husband was Stephen Altman. After an awkward silence, the agent carries on with the house tour. The lady tells her more about the previous owner. Finally, they arrive at the master's bedroom, and Meg immediately notices something weird in the room. The agent is impressed by her observation, and he moves the full body mirror to reveal the hidden room behind it. This is called a panic room. The previous owner built this for safety from intruders. There are many screens here, which are connected to all the surveillance cameras in the house. Here you can see every corner of the house, and the room is made of thick concrete walls from all sides. The door is made up of thick steel, with a dedicated power source to operate it. It also has a phone line that is not connected to the main line. Meg likes this house very much, and she eventually buys the house, and shifts here with her 12-year-old daughter Sarah. Meg reads through the home security manual, and turns on all of the security cameras that can be viewed from the panic room. Meg lets the surveillance system run so she can sleep. Later, it is shown that some people are standing outside their house. And they are trying to break in, but the doors were locked. Then one of them, Burnham, enters the house from the first floor. He looks around the house, surprised to see them sleeping, as he did not expect to see anyone home. Burnham then goes downstairs. He opens the doors from inside, to let in his companion named Junior, the grandson of the previous owner, and the other one Raoul, a small-time thug. Burnham suggests they should leave because a family is already here, but Junior tries to convince them that they can still handle it. Suddenly Meg wakes up and switches on the light in the panic room, before going to the washroom. Junior, on the other hand, is concerned because Burnham is leaving, since he knows that he cannot do the robbery without Burnham's help, and he reveals there is a lot of money in the house. Burnham is in need of money, so he agrees at his behest. Junior says that we will take care of mother and daughter, and no one will get hurt. They decide to proceed with their plan and head upstairs. Meg comes back from the washroom. The light in the panic room is disturbing her. She gets up and turns off the light. She looks at the security camera and sees them coming upstairs. She rushes towards Sarah, after learning that intruders have broken into her house. They see her running and go after her. Meg wakes up Sarah, picks up her, and goes inside the lift. Meanwhile, Sarah suggests they enter the panic room. She tells her to press the emergency stop button, and go to the panic room. Junior notices that they're going back up, so he rushes up the stairs. However, they enter the room and lock it before Junior could catch them. Junior becomes enraged and smashes everything around. Meg can't contact anyone from inside, because her cell phone is in the room. She also realizes that she forgot to hook up the panic room phone to its dedicated phone line. It is revealed that Burnham works for the same security company that built that panic room, and he is confident that the panic room's phone is not working. Meg suddenly finds the public address system. She tells them that she called the police and they are on their way. But Burnham gestures to her that she can't call the police, as he is aware the room's phone line is not connected. She then tells them to take what they want, and get out. Since they can't talk back to her, Junior writes on a paper, and tells her that what they need is in the room. Meg tells them to get out of her house, but again, they tell her that they will let them go after entering the room. Now Junior asks Burnham if there is a way they can break into that room. But for someone who has spent a decade of his life designing these break-in-proof bunkers, Burnham says it is impossible. The only thing that can work out is to force them out of that room. Burnham suggests that they figure out a way to get them out. They proceed to seal every exit of the house, for the case when they are able to force them out of that room, so that they do not escape the house, till they are done with the robbery. Then Burnham gets an idea. He finds a propane gas cylinder, drills into the air one of the panic room, and releases the gas into the vent. He only lets out a small amount, in order to scare them and leave the room. Meg senses the gas and they have difficulty in breathing. Now when the gas starts spreading inside, Meg tells her daughter Sarah to lie down on the ground. Meg tries to stop the gas with duct tape, but it doesn't work. Sarah notices a small hole and immediately alerts Meg. So they breathe through it. Meanwhile, the three robbers are arguing with each other. Raoul is a professional greedy thug, who appears to be ready to do whatever it takes to get into that room, even if that means hurting Sarah and Meg. Burnham, on the other hand, has some boundaries and does not wish to hurt anybody. And Junior, the stupidest among the three, gets easily agitated. Meg discovers a lighter and some fireproof blankets inside. They cover themselves in it, until Meg ignites the gas, causing large blue flames to blow both her and Junior. He gets badly injured. Sarah later notices their neighbor across the street, sleeping in his room. They attempt to signal him with a torch, in order to get some help. But unfortunately, when he finally wakes up, he closes the blinds and goes back to sleep. Meanwhile, Raoul takes furious Junior downstairs to speak with him privately. When Meg looks at the cameras again, she notices that they are no longer in the bedroom. She opens the doors, and goes outside to get her phone. She discovers it under her bed, but is unable to obtain it. In the process, she knocks over the lamp, alerting the intruders. She finally got the cell phone, and Sarah quickly shuts the door again, before the men could get inside. Then they see the charger, and they understand that she has taken her cell phone inside. But luck is not in Meg's favor, as there was no signal inside. Burnham knows that there is no coverage inside. Meg then gets an idea to connect the panic room's phone to the main line. Burnham becomes suspicious that Meg is up to something, while she is looking for it. He notices the wires vanish, as Meg manages to yank them out. He rushes down to the basement to cut the main line. After connecting the line, they dial 911, but the operator puts them on hold. She then calls her ex-husband, whose name is Stephen, and while she explains to him about their situation, Raoul and Burnham damage the phone line, and the call ends abruptly. Meg apologizes to Sarah after briefly losing her cool. But she tells her mom that she is hungry, and feeling dizzy. Here we learn that Sarah is diabetic. Outside, Junior babbles about giving up, because he is in excruciating pain. Junior abandons the robbery and decides to leave. He unknowingly reveals that there is more money in the safe than he previously disclosed. Burnham realizes the room contains more than $10 million. Junior ignores, and they get into a heated argument. Junior tries to leave, but Raoul suddenly shoots him. Sarah directs her attention to the surveillance cameras. Horrified, Meg covers Sarah's eyes, as Raoul drags Junior's body back inside, to shoot him a second time. Just then someone arrives at the door. It is Stephen, Meg's ex-husband. They immediately take him hostage, and Raoul bashes the man's face with his gun. Burnham later checks Stephen's wallet. They discover that he is Meg's ex-husband, and realize she has called him. They ask Stephen if he called the cops, and he says no. However, Raoul is certain that he has already informed the cops. They bring Stephen to Meg's room, and Raoul again starts beating him up severely. Now they are emotionally torturing Meg to open the door. Burnham tells them to open the door, but Stephen strongly instructs them not to. Well, not that they can hear him anyway. Burnham tries to stop him once more, and they argue. He covers the camera, so that Meg cannot see things. Suddenly, Sarah's health also deteriorates, because she is diabetic. Meg starts panicking, because Sarah's injections are in her room. Meg checks the monitors, to see Burnham is taking Raoul downstairs. She assumes that they fought, and Raoul is knocked out now. Meg wraps pillows around her daughter, and kisses her on the cheek, before leaving the panic room. She leaves the room to get Sarah's injection, and discovers Stephen on her bed. She takes out her daughter's medicine from the fridge. After grabbing Sarah's medication, Meg pushes her fears aside, and attempts to return to the master bedroom. She tries to sneak into her room, but Raoul is there with a gun. Turns out, they tricked her into thinking that Raoul was taken downstairs. But instead, it was Stephen in Raoul's clothes. Raoul wore Stephen's clothes, and acted up as unconscious Stephen. She then storms through the door, knocking him down. Burnham catches her off guard, and Raoul grabs her from behind, causing Meg to drop the medicine pouch. The two fight, and Raoul gets inside. However, Meg manages to throw medicine before Burnham shuts the door. In this process, Raoul's hands get crushed by the door. Burnham refuses to open the door, because he thinks Meg has got his gun. Meg overhears this, quickly grabs the gun, and points it at the door. Burnham shouts at her, saying he knows she has the weapon. Meg dashes to the security panel and speaks through it. She tells them that her daughter is ill inside, and if she doesn't give her an injection, she will die. And if anything happens to her, she will kill both of them. She tells him to give the shot, and he agrees if she places the gun on the floor, and runs all the way downstairs. She does the same, but doesn't throw her gun. She goes downstairs, and he sees everything on the camera. After that, he opens the door and releases Raoul's hand from there. Meg rushes upstairs to catch them, but he closes the door before she can. After this, he gives an injection to Sarah. Burnham informs Meg that he administered the injection and that Sarah is safe. Hearing this, she feels relieved and goes downstairs, where she discovers Stephen, who is severely injured. Meg asks Stephen to raise his arm, before handing him the gun. Burnham finds the safe, and takes out his tools to break it. Suddenly, 2 policemen arrive at the house. Stephen reveals that he called them, since her call scared him. Considering Sarah as a hostage with the intruders, Meg opens the door and tells the police to leave. She says everything is fine in the house. Policeman tries to calm her down and talk to her, but she is able to convince them that everything is fine here. Burnham is relieved when the cops leave, and begin drilling the safe. Meg then begins smashing cameras with a sledgehammer. On the other hand, Burnham breaks the safe in the panic room, which contains the bank bonds, and they are not worth $3 million, but $22 million. They decide to leave and exit the panic room. Their life is also in danger, because they do not know where Meg is, with a gun in her possession. So they keep Sarah as a hostage, and go downstairs. When they reach down, they see that Stephen is sitting there, with a gun in his hand. He tells him to leave his daughter. While Raoul hides behind holding Sarah, Burnham tells Stephen that he has nothing to worry about, because they are leaving, and he will never see them again. Sarah notices her mother, and immediately moves away, so that Meg can hit Raoul. Seeing this, Burnham flees from there. Despite his injuries, Raoul is able to climb the stairs. Because of his broken arm, Stephen is unable to take a perfect shot, and Raoul manages to tackle Meg down. Burnham comes to a stop as he attempts to leave the property. He can hear screams coming from inside. Raoul beats up Meg, and they fight each other. To get him off her mother, Sarah jumps on him, and repeatedly stabs him with her syringe. Raoul punches Sarah in the face, knocking her back against the fireplace. He is about to kill her with a hammer, when Burnham returns and shoots Raoul in the head, killing the cruel man for good. He then runs to the backyard in order to escape. But the police break into the house, because they were suspicious of Meg's strange behavior. And they catch Burnham while climbing the wall. Police order him to move away from the fence. Burnham follows instructions, and kneels with the bank bonds in his hand. They tell him to drop the bonds he's holding. Bonds scatter in the wind, and Burnham gets arrested. Few days later, Meg and Sarah are on a park bench, with Sarah lying on her mother's lap. Sarah is reading newspaper listings for apartments for rent. And a movie ends on a happy note. To know the movie's name, check the pinned comment right now. If you like the story, then do watch the full film, and if you want to watch more such amazing recaps, then do subscribe to our channel and enable bell notifications to receive the latest regular updates. See you in the next recap.